This would be... That's... Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com. We're back out here at the cabin build. One thing that occurred to me is I don't think we've done any kind of videos showing you constructing a header. So we were just in the middle of building a wall, and it's got like a 7-foot header in it, and I thought, well, let's do a quick video. So for most headers, now depending if you're working off a plan or whatever you're dealing with, there may be some specs on the plan for, you know, how many plies it's got to be, obviously, and what size of material. So you need to obviously follow those guidelines that are set out by your engineer or whoever did the plan up. But typically most headers will be 2 or 3 plies of whatever thickness material. So let's just say 2x6. So you've got 2 plies, 2 separate pieces of 2x6 to the right length, and they're going to get nailed together. Now if it's 2x6, you're going to shoot 3 nails about every foot through the material, through the entire length, and flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. And then what a lot of people, and myself included, like to do is once you have that, is actually add those onto a bottom plate. And what this does is it just gives a nice smooth surface for the opening that you're using, and also you use the same material as the studs that you're using. So if you're using 2x4, 2x8, 2x6, whatever, that's what this sill piece on the bottom of the header would be. So you've automatically got your opening built out to the right width when your header isn't as wide as everything that's up there. Okay, so this just fills in that bottom and gives you a nice surface. Now in our case, and I'll get to it in a few minutes, what we're also going to do is we're going to insulate this header. It's not always done, but more and more with energy efficiency guidelines and everything, it's definitely going to help you, or may even be required by your builder, by your design. So in our case, we're using a 2x6 wall with double headers, and that's leaving us with I believe 2.5 inches. Yeah, basically 2.5 inches of this extra space here. So now we could just put spacers between this even. That used to be in the old days. We actually flushed this up to the outside like that, and we cut 2x6 spacers or 8 or whatever and put them in there. It's not as strong of a header though, so if you can put your plies together, it's preferred. And then to take up this space, I'm going to use 2-inch styrofoam, and then I'm going to fill that last little bit in. We're finding 3/8 plywood is working out better than 1/2 inch, even though mathematically 1/2 inch should be what it is. The 3/8 is just ending up to be more flush. And the other nice thing about thickening your header up like that is not only that you're getting some insulation value there, some extra insulation, is that by being able to add that skin of plywood, that we're putting that to the inside of our room, and we're putting it to the outside of our room, but it just seals off that end. But if you're putting it to the inside, you know, you've at least got some backing there. If you're hanging a curtain or whatever, you're not just going into drywall or into an empty void. So in our case, we've been putting the solid side, I guess would be to the inside of the wall when the walls are laying down, and then we stand it up. And this would be, that side there would have been the outside. So anyways, we'll get rid of the model. We'll get to the actual thing. And we will get you zoomed in here a little bit closer to see what we're doing, but you can see the parts I have. So there's my bottom sill. Here's just my 3/8 plywood in my case that I'm using as a filler. And it's just in multiple pieces. We're just using up some scrap that we had, because this part really doesn't add any strength to the header. Here again, got a couple different pieces of foam. And then we're using 2x8 for this particular header, so here's our 2 plies of 2x8. So what I always start out with is I like to flush up my ends and at least one edge. The odd time you'll get a piece of material and it's slightly thicker or thinner than the other piece, but always just make sure you've got at least one side nice and flat and flush. So I always flush that up, and then just make sure the rest of it's pretty decent, pretty close. We'll maneuver it as we go, as we're nailing it together. Now I'm using these particular nails are just pass load. We're not sponsored by them or anything, but these are the nails I'm using. So these are 3 1/4 inch long nails. 3 1/4, 3 3/8, I can't even remember, something like that. Now, because we're using a 2-ply header here and each ply is 1.5 inches, obviously these nails straight through are going to stick through on the other side. But if you put them in at a slight angle, it shortens basically the amount of length and penetration they'll have. So that's what I usually do, is put them in on an angle. And like I said, we're using a 2x8. So in this case, I'm going to use 4 nails across the width of it in all my rows. And I always keep the first row in about 3 inches or 4 inches, just so you're not splitting the ends of the header, hopefully. So I'm going to just start by putting a few nails in this first to start with. Okay, so it's just want to make sure it's sunk in well, not coming out the other side, hopefully. And now I've got that one in, so I know I've got this corner kind of pinned so everything stayed flush. And like I said, I want to go about every 12 inches with my rows of nails. So I'm just going to work that along, putting 1 nail for each row to start with. And then I'll have it all flush, and then I'll go back and fill in my other nails. So you can kind of just do it by hand, or if you're more, you know, want to use a square or whatever to make sure you're flush, whatever you're comfortable with. And I should have some glasses on. So I'm just working it along. Sometimes you get one piece that's a bit, you know, curved or whatever. Preferably try to use straight stuff, but it's not always easy to get everything straight. And if it was curved, I can just manipulate the 2 pieces. Sometimes you need an extra hand, but you can kind of move them along and get your nail and get it manipulated so you can get flush on one edge. This one's actually pretty good. Okay, so I got that all flush, my ends are flush. Now I can fill in the rest of my 3 extra nails in each row. With a lot of these guns, they're designed with this part on an angle. This one's 30 degree, and that 30 degree usually puts just the right angle on it so your nails aren't coming through on the back side. So I'm just resting the gun right on the material. So you can see my nail placement. I'm about 1 inch, 1 1/4 in from the sides, and then just spaced roughly evenly. And like I said, on 2x8 you want 4 nails. Okay, so now I've got that part. So now is where I want to add my, I don't know really what the term is. I call it the sill part, sill, or the bottom of the header. It's just another piece of material that's same length as the header, and the same width as whatever your framing material is. So we're building 2x6 walls here, so we're using 2x6 material for this part. So now I want to stand my header up. I want the side that I was paying attention to, that I was flushing, I want it up. And I'm going to put, just turn this a little bit, you can see. I don't have enough hands and room. I'm trying to turn this so you can see what I'm doing here. So again, I'm just flushing the ends. I'm flushing this side on the back side there. And I'm just working along and nailing. Now, this 2x6 is kind of ratty here. And you see how the corner's kind of crappy. So preferably I don't want that down. It just looks bad. Nobody's going to see it afterwards, but it just looks bad. So I usually try to put the nicer side down. It's just always nice to see a square corner if you can. Today's lumber, if you don't have bark on it, you probably didn't buy it in a store. You milled it yourself and did it right. So flush this end, flush this face over here. This was my good side. and I'm going to put a nail into each ply. Again, about every, this doesn't have to be nailed as much, but I'm going to put a nail into each ply about every 2 feet. Same thing, I'm starting with my first row though, so I can move this back and forth if I need to keep it flush over here on this side. And you notice that I was nailing more straight down, just because I don't have any worries about nails coming through the back side, because I'm nailing into this 7 1/4 inches. I'll put my second row. There we have our basic header, right? But now, like I said, on our project here, we're going to insulate the header as well. So that's where the styrofoam and the extra strips of plywood come in. Really simple process. I'm just adding this. I just cut it. I cut it just a hair narrower. Like I believe these 2x8s were actually measuring 7 1/8, and I cut this like at 7 1/16 or so. It's just giving me a little bit of room so I don't have to trim it off after. And I just flushed up that end. This insulation happens to have a shiplap edge on it, and I just utilized that. You don't have to, it could just be cut straight. I'll turn this the other way so you can see more what's going on. So flushing up the end. Where is it? Right there. And I'm just pushing it down tight to this sill piece. Setting everything on there, and then I can set my plywood pieces on. And I just want this to go on and sandwich everything together. And when it's down, I want that to be flush. You don't want this protruding at all. Worst case scenario, I'd rather have that sunk in a 1/16 or whatever than actually protruding. Then it's just going to be thicker than the whole wall. And these are just cut-offs that I use for this part. And in this case, it took 3 pieces to do it. Okay, and it works out that these nails being 3 1/4, I can get through all this, and they're sticking in there enough to basically stick it together anyways. In our case, once we plywood or OSB the outside of the walls, this all gets covered up and nailed into, and everything holds together. So just apply a little bit of pressure if you need to, and I'm just going to put 3 nails across every whatever I need to. And actually, I shouldn't angle them because I'm trying to get as much penetration out of these nails as I can. I'm just, as you see with my other hand, kind of pulling everything tight together and kind of leaning on it just to get a bit of weight. Okay, so you can see I didn't pound a whole lot of nails into it. You could probably get away with 2 nails instead of 3, but it's whatever. And I've got nice flush edges. Kind of roll it up this way. You can see that it's a little bit better like that. And here's a good reason why using a slightly thinner piece here is good, because you can see we got a little bit of a gap here. You don't always get this closed up right tight. Now I could try putting an extra nail in that edge, but most likely I'm not going to get it closed up any better than that. Oh, I forgot to nail the other side. Good thing we talked about that. That's why I have a gap. So as I mentioned way back in the beginning of the video, you should nail both sides of your header, and I forgot to do that. In all my talking and worrying about the next step, I forgot a step. So that's all right. Worked out that I actually put this in the right direction at least. All of my other nails are on the inside. It's this side I need to nail. So we'll go back here and give her a shot. I'm nailing it just like I did the other side, so 4 nails every 12 inches or so. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up building a header. Now this obviously isn't the type of header you'd need inside an interior wall in your home. This is for an exterior wall. As you can tell, we've added the insulation, so that kind of is a dead giveaway. Thanks a lot for watching. Click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and go check out all our other videos. We'll have another one showing you how we installed this.